Squad Car 37 Live will begin momentarily. In the meantime, please enjoy music from tonight's guests.
Welcome to Twilight Terrors. Come on, let's play.
But don't you love it, babe? How it makes you feel? 'Cause I like the pain. Don't you think you might like it too? It drives me insane how you control my mind. Bruises will heal, but at least they have color. Scars will fade, but at least they have depth. A rose is not a rose with the thorns cut up. And love is not love without feeling. You're all so selfish. How shocking. Burning bridges today. Don't love me, then do not stay. Have no problem pushing the fake bitches away. Burning bridges today. Don't love me, then do not stay. Have no problem pushing the fake bitches away. Ask me if I care. Get me out, I can't break free. Shut your mouth and let me be. Don't let it take control of you. If you're not careful, demons will break through. I'm moving through. Ups and downs can really start to get scary. I don't have the control they want to sell me. Put me in a box like I'm secondary. I'm not secondary. My mind shouldn't be a barrier. Should've determined who stays or who goes. But my mind makes the world heavier.
Goodbye sun, stars are bright. Chasing hope tonight. Dreams come true, don't turn blue. Better get it right. Come on and get it right. Well, stand your post and fight well. Waves crash down, winds pick up. Falling out of sight, not too sure what to do. Step into the light. Let your light shine bright. Well, stand your post and fight well. You're running away, you can stop any day. I know you want to be there. You don't have to be mean, you can say what you mean, even when you don't really care. Do you even care now? Show and tell the world out. All bets are on the table. Yet all you do is play on. On and on, play on and on. Darling, I've seen the stars more than I'll ever know. But lately seems they mean nothing at all. Because you are all that's in my sights. Care to come closer, love? Close your eyes. The stars can wait a while. Did you think that I'd just sit here, let it all burn? This is my peace of mind, so you can just throw away. Whoa. Don't you think sometimes you're better off going unheard? Just take a piece of my advice and things will never change.
Squad Car 37 Live will begin now.
Hello, good people. I'm JP, and you are watching Squad Car 37 Live. And tonight, we're going to chat about songwriting and the creative process. I'm joined by a panel of uber talented musicians, including Emma Carmela, a songwriter with an incredible voice who's performed multiple times at the legendary Kennedy Center in DC. I've had the opportunity to record and produce several of her super cool songs and videos. Wim Tapley, a multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, and live musician. I've worked with Wim on his most recent EP, which is up on Spotify and all the online spots. And Ryan Weimer, a singer, songwriter, rapper, guitar player, and longtime friend. We've collaborated on quite a few tracks over the years, and I'm super excited to welcome all of you to the broadcast tonight. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us.
This is great.
Well, Emma, I'm going to start with you. Performing at the Kennedy Center, which you've done on several occasions, it's a big deal. And if we rewind to the beginning, can we start? I'd love to know sort of how your passion for music started.
Sure. Well, I was very blessed to be brought into a family with lots of music. Both of my parents grew up doing musical theater. My dad is now a music therapist, so I kind of get my music from them. Even my grandma was an opera singer.
wow.
I'm very blessed to have this kind of music in my life. So they kind of helped bring me to that when I was younger.
That's very cool. So it's sort of in your blood in a sense.
Yeah, genetics.
So I'm curious. It's my background is similar. So I got into music because my dad was into music. He played in a band. He played the bass. He sang. He played guitar. My mom was music in another way. She played. She'll tell you that she played the radio, and she was very good at it. So that combination created some early passion for me. I'm curious. Wim and Ryan, maybe Wim, we'll start with you. How did your passion for music start?
Yeah, so totally different situation from Emma. I think I have like a jazz piano player somewhere down the line, like a great grandfather. But other than that, it was kind of just my own thing that I started. And I think that my parents both listen to a music in a way that's distinct from most people. They kind of have that ear where they can pick apart things that they like about a song. And so growing up in that environment where I'm really not only listening to all sorts of music, but really diving into the music that I'm listening to was super helpful.
So your parents enjoyed music, and they were very particular about things that they liked or didn't like. I'm getting
Sure.
from what
Yeah,
you're saying.
they weren't I think my dad was first chair clarinet in middle school, and my mom played piano in high school. But other than that, we kind of trace it back to that great grandfather. So.
Oh, that's cool. So do you like similar styles of music or not so much?
Yeah, my dad is like my favorite concert buddy. We go see lots of live music together, and we're always like texting each other new tracks on Spotify that we're seeing and stuff. My mom is more into like the pop country side of things, so we kind of clash there. But also, she's got a love for like, 90s alternative and all sorts of cool stuff. So there, we all have our commonalities that we bond over, and it's pretty cool.
Sure.
Nice.
Awesome. What about you, Ryan?
I think it's the same thing. Parents, I remember growing up, my parents would always have Motown on, or Temptations, Michael Jackson, Tina Turner, all this music that was always in the background while my mom was cleaning the house and telling me to get back to work and help clean. But the music just stuck with me. And, my parents always liked to dance whenever we'd go to a wedding or go to a get together, family outing. My parents were always dancing. And it was just kind of like just there. That beats, the rhythm was always just a part of growing up. So it stuck with me. And over time, just had a desire to explore that more. So.
I can attest to that. I've known Ryan and I were roommates in college, and one of the things that I always remember about Ryan was you were constantly smacking beats on stuff. And I was talking to you guys about this yesterday. Literally, you would be rapping beat like I'm not even sure you knew you were doing it. You were rapping beats on just tables, chairs, like I said yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah, banging stuff like while you're driving, you're rapping beats on the just like anything. It was very percussive, and you were always looking for opportunities to go out, and you got some dance moves. I did not have any dance moves. I would just hang back, and you were like, "Come on, Jay, get up!" No, I hang back. That was not my thing, but I definitely appreciated that, and it's so cool to sort of hear those. To trace that back to your parents and the Motown, and especially like Michael Jackson. You guys are familiar with Michael Jackson's, you youngins. We're kind of the OGs here, Ryan, you and I here. But
Right.
in particular, was there a particular Michael Jackson album that that kicked things off for you, or was it like off the wall, sort of that funky stuff, or was it a little bit?
Yeah, that definitely did it. I mean, Thriller, the song is just, everybody knows it. Just kind of stuck, and that was fun trying to do the moonwalk and all that kind of stuff when you're a kid growing up. I think I had the pants with like 1,000 zippers on it or something. Maybe I even purchased the glove at one point, but it was fun.
I had the glove.
It was just fun to try to like pretend and try to live that out a little bit. Like, hey, how cool would it be? And my mom actually went and saw Michael Jackson, so that shows you how old we really are, Jay.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I did have the glove, and I loved Michael Jackson. And if you really dive in to Quincy Jones and some of the craftsmanship that were in some of those. Really everything to do with Michael Jackson, but back in the day, I loved Off the Wall. If you're looking for that sort of funk, and Ryan kind of got me into this James Brown, but it wasn't so much the Motown James Brown that everybody knows. It was kind of like, like On the Good Foot, Payback. Look up those songs, man. You cannot. The beats, the rhythms in those songs are just real head bobbers. So
it's
Emma,
hard
let me
not
ask.
to move when you're playing, yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And James Brown, literally, when you listen to some of the stuff off of those records, it's like, I'm not sure he even had a lyrical plan when he was stepping up to the microphone. It's just a lot of, hey, it's a hit me. It's like going down to the crib where they all hang out. He's just making stuff, riffing, rapping, and it's great. It's great stuff. So I'm curious, because we've got multi-generations here. I'm curious, Emma, what are some songs or artists or music that you remember early on that was inspiring, and then also what is some current music that you find inspiring for your own style?
Sure. Well, I grew up, like I said, on a lot of musical theater. I remember listening to Wicked and Les Mis in the car with my mom, and it was always really empowering and really cool to hear how you can tell such a big story just through a soundtrack and through songs, and that was really inspiring to me. And we would listen to, Green Day with my dad and Billy Joel and all of that stuff. So that was all very inspiring growing up. Currently, I'm a huge fan of Ariana Grande. I'm one of the biggest Ariana Grande fans. I think that is out there. She's, very pop centric, and that's kind of where I fall, I feel. And Billie Eilish is another really big inspiration for me. A lot of my music is kind of similar to a lot of the stuff that she does. And those two artists just really stand out to me.
Yeah, I can definitely hear those influences. Your vocal talent, the sort of the way you're able to sing is like in that sort of Ariana Grande genre. It's like, we joke about me being sort of a guitar shredder. there are those vocalists that are sort of like vocal shredders, and that's sort of the genre that I see you kind of in, and you certainly have the talent to do that. So it's cool.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Same question for you, Wim. Sort of like younger influence of style early on, and then later on. You touched on this a little bit, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I mean, going back to where I started becoming inspired to do music and everything, my parents really just built this. They cultivated this environment that just made music so fun. I remember, my dad and we would drive around, and he had 2 CDs in his car. He had Guns N' Roses' "Appetite for Destruction" and a bagpipe soundtrack. So it was those two, and we drive around and listen to those, and
Yes.
so that really like opened the door to just listening to all sorts of stuff. And I've kind of stuck with that motto, just trying to draw my influence from as wide a base as possible. So now I'm listening to a lot of the stuff that's coming out of like the London neo soul kind of scene. So R&B, jazz, funk from there. I really like the spaghetti western soundtracks of old cowboy movies, some jazz, some of the Americana stuff, just like a little bit of everything. I'm always trying to listen to new music.
Wow, that's really cool. And I've noticed that you've put together quite a few like Spotify playlists and stuff I see popping up on my social media. And I think, can you describe to me what the cover image of your most recent Spotify playlist is?
Yeah, so the playlist is called I'll say it in the Borat voice because it's a picture of Borat, but it's called Very Nice, I Like, and it's got Borat in the mankini on the front, and it's just all the songs that are very nice and I like. And it's something that I just, I do a recurring thing every Monday night, and I throw 10 new tracks that I'm listening to on there, and it's just a great way that I can connect with not only friends but also people who are checking out my music, because it's right on my Spotify page, so they can just go and see exactly what I'm digging, and what I'm inspired by.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the concept of staying in touch with what's going on with music, and then from Appetite to Destruction to Bagpipes, finding something that resonates with you, some little thing. There's going to be some awesomeness in really anything, even country music, Wim.
Yeah, I love the old, like, I've been listening through Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings and Jason Isbell. Awesome.
That's
So
awesome.
that's where I'm kind of like, amending that musical relationship with my mom. We're starting to bond more over country music.
Well, that's great. For those of you who are watching, we'd like this to be an interactive discussion. So we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube right now. And I have this little section here that I think all of us can probably see. There's a comments section. So if you have comments or questions for us as we move along into the discussion about songwriting, just feel free to pop them in. We'll recognize you and answer your question. If they can't figure it out and I don't know the answer, I'll just make something up.
Love it.
I'm good at that. Just make it up.
Oh, and the other thing is, if you're watching and you're interested and you think any of your friends and family or followers might be interested, you could share this. You can click share, and it just alerts people that we're gone live, and they can join the fun.
Yeah, we've got a viewing party going on my page right now. So thanks to all you guys who are tuning in. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Party on.
Party on. All right.
So I'd like to dive into, everyone here in this panel has created music, right? We've started a song from an idea to a full song, and we've repeated that process. And I'm always curious how people approach that. I know how I approach it. And there's one question that I seem to get all the time, and it's, what comes first? Is it the lyrics or is it the music, right? Do you guys ever get this question?
Absolutely.
Chicken or the egg.
Yeah. So I want to kind of go around and see what your perspectives on this are. And maybe I'll start with Ryan. I love this setup. It reminds me of like the Brady Bunch,
I was thinking Brady Bunch. Yeah.
Look around. And
Makes me want to sing it.
Through this way. Yeah.
Wait, what? I like all the different color schemes we got going on too. It's cool.
Sure.
Well, I think it's early on. It may have been like the ideas that were floating in my head. The ADHD was on fire back in college. And so I would have some of the melodies or something like that in my head and then start putting it together. But more so lately, and I think more now, it's typically starting with a beat. I'll get the beat going. I'll lay down some bass, get a bass line going. And then once I get that and a little chord progression, just sing over the top of that, kind of start recording some vocals, something that I'm feeling to that rhythm. And, you know, whether I like it or not, it's kind of like at that point, it's like the palette. We're just painting, just kind of trying to check things out. I might come back to it then and go, okay, is that going to be the chorus? Or do I like that as the verse? And then play around with that a little bit more. So it's kind of like a fail forward, if you will. I just keep messing with it from there. If I like it, I keep it. If I don't, I've deleted some stuff. And then later on, it's in my head, you know, trying to lay there at night, trying to sleep. And now it's in my head and I'm going, yeah, I kind of like that now. Why did I delete that? I need to go back and get it, you know?
Totally.
So Ryan, are you writing in a studio setting all the time, or are you ever like out, you know, getting coffee and you come up with a melody or something?
That used to be me. Now I have 4 kids, so I don't have time to ever do that.
Sure.
Everything is when I get a little break from the craziness, I'll sit out here with my computer. You know, just I'm plugged into get the mic and everything going, Logic Pro, and then just kind of start laying some stuff down, and that's where I create now. Instead of it can still happen. I can still be, you know, out there cruising around, and then something kind of surfaces that is inspiring. But more so now for me, it's like I got to go sit down and have that space, that environment to focus in on the music.
Sure.
Isn't it cool how our laptops, our computers have become an instrument from that standpoint? It's a place for exploration. So Ryan, you gave a couple examples, but the most recent example was it sounded like music started first. You had a musical idea, a percussive idea, and then you audition vocals over top of it until, you know, things get locked in, things start working, you know, throwing phrases at it, throwing ideas at it. And then all of a sudden, oh, there might be a theme. Oh,
right.
What is the rest of this story? And then you kind of expand on that. Wim, I'll go to you next, then I'll go to Emma, because Emma's got kind of a cool perspective on this too. But Wim, how do you approach this?
Yeah, so I am kind of writing the way that I process music as well. So what I mean by that is usually the melody of a song or the musical elements of it are what really catch me, and then the lyrics are what make me stay. So I'm you know, usually writing just with my acoustic guitar and singing. And I think a big point of, you know, gaining maturity within my songwriting was when I was able to grow past this just writing with the acoustic and having this acoustic song in mind versus sitting there and writing and then having a full song in mind. So I now I'm writing and I'm thinking, okay, what do I want my drums to sound like? I'm thinking of bass lines. And so my voice memo app is just, you know, 4 times as full now because I'm always doing little notes and stuff. But yeah, I'm a music first guy, and I'm learning how to continue to grow and get, you know, full song ideas from the get-go.
You mentioned voice memos. How many of you guys are using voice memos as a way to, do you find music to be like me? It's almost like a great dream. You wake up and you have this dream and you've got to do something. Otherwise, like minutes later, you have no idea what you just dreamt about. And so for me, voice memos is like the most important app, one of the most important apps on my phone. I'm like constantly, if it's a guitar part, if it's a vocal part, if I'm in a car and I can't, you know, I'll hum something.
Yeah.
How do you guys use voice memos as well like that?
For sure.
I think I recorded 4 earlier today.
All the time.
So it's my go-to.
So Emma, same question.
Sure. So I typically start with lyrics first. I'm really big with poetry. So I enjoy writing. my first song, I Like the Pain, was a combination of a couple things that I wrote. I usually carry a book around with me, and then when I think of like random lyrics, I'll just jot them down until a bunch of them make sense, and then I can kind of piece them together and add a couple things here and there. And then once I have a full song lyrically, I think of a melody and I sing it into my voice memos. And then I'll typically send it to Jason, just my voice, and say, hey, I'm singing this, like maybe we could, work on it together, drop some music with it. And then we start collaborating on that. And it's, yeah, or sometimes with Ask Me If I Care, I was at my grandma's house and I just like, it just came to me and I just like wrote it down really quickly and sent it to him. But lyrics first for me.
Yep, nice.
Isn't that interesting how different that approach is? Because I'm also it could really be anything. If there's I focus, since I'm not a singer without some serious auto tune or Melodyne help. I'm primarily like more of the music. I'm more of the music guy. But I'll use, voice memos, and then but anything could inspire something. I could hear, some bagpipes and think, okay, let me just see where this might take me. And really any musical element, it could be a vocal or a lyric, is going to turn into something if you water it. So, but let me just add to what Emma just said. So I've been on the receiving end of these voice memos. Now, I've heard my own voice memos. They sound terrible. I barely want to listen to them myself. It's just to memorize something. It's just to give me a reminder. It's like a note, right? Her voice memos, I don't know how you do it, but if you could imagine, she's singing to, we talked about this the other night, but it's so cool. She'll send me a voice memo that's a whole song that's all sort of pieced together, but it's in the correct key all the way through. And she's not singing to anything. Usually you sing to a guitar, and so you can hear where the tone is and where you need to be, but she will be consistent through the whole thing. So I'll literally take this voice memo, I'll throw it into Logic, and I'll start auditioning whatever instrument I'm working with to come up with the chord change. I'll figure out, oh, she's in the key of, F minor. Okay, let me audition this. And then I start putting the pieces together. But through the whole dang song, she's in F minor. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's very impressive. So you've got...
Thank you.
That's a gift, Emma. I don't know how you
awesome.
do that, but that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can barely do that with
Thank
Happy
you.
Birthday in a room of people. But anyway, it's
I
I
can't even
was
sing a
impressed.
tune with auto tune. Doesn't even. That.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
So where are you most creative? Think about this for a second. I heard recently an interview, somebody was talking about Willie Nelson, and he would talk about hopping in his car and going for a long drive. And he described it as when part of his brain was having to focus on driving, the creative part of his brain was there giving him all these great ideas. And his biggest challenge was getting back home to the studio in time to, write this stuff down. This is probably before voice memos, but he did a whole album this way. And he's written many, many songs. Ask your mom, Wim, if you haven't heard of him.
I love Willie.
So, and then secondly, what is the mystery of the shower? Does this happen to you too? You get the shower going, there's this nice sort of ambience. There's like this drone noise, like and you're in there and maybe nobody's home. And the next thing you know, it just has I'm coming up with bass lines. I got to get to my phone and try not to slip and hit my head. So where are you guys most creative? Who wants to start?
Wow. Let's hear Emma.
Yeah.
I can start. Okay. For some reason, like whenever I have downtime outside of my house, I tend to be the most creative. When I'm home and have downtime, I just can't focus in for some reason. So like at my grandma's house, they were watching Family Feud, and for some reason I was like, oh, I want to write a song. I have one. Or at work, I work at a daycare, and at nap time, we have some downtime, and I started writing my song Snap. Half of that was written at my daycare.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
That's
whenever I
cool.
have downtime, like
Wow.
outside of the house, yeah. So I have to force myself out of the house to really focus on getting a complete song lyrically, at least. And then the shower, of course, is like I'm performing a concert in there. So, free range in the shower, of course.
That's awesome.
Cool. What about you, Wim?
Yeah. So I think I'm kind of running along the same vein as I heard in a Chris Stapleton interview. He said, songwriting is kind of like a curse. You can't turn it off. And so I've written songs like, I'll be sitting in science class and get a song idea, run to the bathroom and record a voice memo. I do have that, the shower is cliche, but probably I would guess a quarter of the sounds that you're hearing on my stuff have been thought up in the shower.
No
And then
kidding.
my
Wow.
favorite spot where I sit and I write is just in my basement with my acoustic guitar. So keep
Very
it pretty
cool.
simple. But out in the world, I'm just like, ideas ping-ponging around my head. So voice memos are, if that's your takeaway, voice memos are my,
Voice memo. That's it.
yeah.
Voice memos are a blessing.
That's
Yes,
key, isn't
ma'am.
it? Because I'm thinking to myself, I'm so ADHD. I don't know where there's one place where that inspiration comes.
Everywhere.
But I do think about it. I'm like, okay, it is typically if I get some downtime and if my wife takes the 4 kids out of town, I can get some songs going, maybe some exercise, go for a run. That's when it starts to kind of release the stress and I can start thinking about the creative side. I need to try that Willie thing though, get in my car and just start driving.
That's
Let's
awesome.
see what that does.
I've actually
I
found.
don't know that I do that because I'm always listening to music in my car,
Yeah. I've definitely found that I'm reaching for trying to be safe and reaching for voice memos while I'm driving because something has happened. Or what'll happen is I'm thinking about some harmonies for like I'll be driving, listening to something that is in progress, right? So a track that's in progress. We might already have a primary vocal, and so I'm sort of singing along to try to lock in some harmonies, and then I've got it. So I'll sort of voice memo it and try not to run off the road. Okay, voice memos, iPhones, microphones, gear. Some people might think, if they're new to this, that in recording and such, that they need super expensive gear. They need the best microphone to be able to record a compelling song that that sounds great and that resonates with people. Emma, can you give us an example, maybe during quarantine, where the life gave us new parameters on availability of studio time and how you use that to your advantage?
Yeah, so Jason and I are working on a song now, but obviously I can't get over to his studio at the moment since we're in quarantine. So I got a little microphone that Jason suggested, and one of the ones that you can like plug into your iPhone. I got a bunch of clothes and pillows in my closet and just like packed it in there. I got some fairy lights to make it look pretty. And I just sat in my closet with the door closed and recorded all my vocals with headphones like these and that little microphone just in my closet and sent it over. And it sounds pretty good.
I also sing in my closet.
Yeah, I mean, I started in my closet too with
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. Closets, by the way, are a great spot to record vocals if you don't have like a reflection shield. So this isn't like a weird thing that we're doing. Like musicians do this. I mean, that's kind of where you start. And because basically the sound gets absorbed with the clothes, right? So you don't have, imagine standing in your kitchen and singing, you're going to hear this reverb from all around and, hardwood floors or what have you. But if you go in a closet or you're near a pillow or whatever, that sort of absorbs it. So I would, you said pretty good. Those vocals sounded fantastic. And once you pull them in and you do a little bit of processing to them, you just clean them up just a little bit with some EQ and compression, and you layer them into a track. Nobody knows that those things were recorded on an iPhone. The song sounds fantastic. I can't wait for this thing to come out. We're just looking to plug in one.
I'm so excited.
one little part, and it should be off to the races. So anyway,
What kind of mic
Yeah.
did you use, Emma, on that?
Oh gosh, I don't know the name of it.
Jason, you remember
might know.
the mic? The plug-in?
yeah, so it's a Shure. I want to say it's like a T88 or something. It's an iPhone Shure, SHURE. I wonder if
plug
you.
that in that little
Yeah.
tiny mic. That's cool.
Let me look it up. real
Little one,
quick.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not that. But basically, you just Google Shure
But it was nice.
microphone for your
Yeah.
iPhone.
No, yeah, I'm familiar with that. That's cool. And it's amazing that you can get pro sound with that little mic on your iPhone.
Yeah, it's like a small little condenser microphone.
Yeah, it was
and you
very
can-
cool. It was very cool.
Yeah, and you can actually adjust sort of the radius of the sound coming in, kind of like a normal condenser microphone using the app. And I've used it to do like what I call found sounds, or what people call found sounds, recording things like in my kitchen, banging pots, or out in the woods and snapping branches and turning
Throwing
all
your
that in.
rocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
throwing rocks, just doing weird stuff. That microphone's easy to take around. So.
Nice.
So I guess all of you, we've collaborated to some degree through, either here in the studio or remotely. I'd be curious to hear your experience, either with me or collaborating with another artist to kind of bring a project to fruition. Maybe Wim, you could start with that.
Yeah. So I mean, coming to Squad Car 37 was a game changer because we tracked the EP when I was a freshman in high school. So I had never really been in a professional recording setting. I had very, very little production chops. And so I kind of came to Jason out of like desperation. I was like, oh my God, I heard you are a producer. He did so my friend Ellie Rose, you did her EP. And
she's a super talent too, isn't she?
Oh, she's great. Yeah. But I think I sent you a text out of nowhere. Like you were a complete stranger. And I just sent you a video of my stuff and said, oh my God, like, do you think we could do this? We met up at a Starbucks or something. And, off we went with the EP, and it was great. And we, you really grew my confidence working in that setting because I'm much more like a live musician. That's how my love for music is more oriented, but I've learned to love the studio, and it was really cool working in there.
It was fun.
It
wasn't
was
it?
fun. Yeah,
I've-
absolutely. We did some weird stuff, so that was the best part.
I feel like there's an intimidation factor to being in a quote studio or being in a setting with somebody else that you're working with to record music.
Mhm.
And to me, it's like the coolest, most fun thing ever. So if I get to have somebody over and we're recording on something, I'm as excited, sometimes even more excited about the process than the person there. So hopefully that enthusiasm sort of translates. And I think it does, because if you're excited and you're in a safe place where you can experiment and try things differently, you're going to get, I think, a good result because that fear factor doesn't limit you from trying something new or doing it in a different way, or trying something that maybe you didn't think was going to work, and maybe it still doesn't work. I've done those suggestions. Hey, Emma, what do you think? What if we did this? And you're like, give me this look like you've lost your mind. And most of the time I have, but every now and then there's some little idea there. But what it shows is that we can throw ideas at it, and then you'll come up with an idea like, hey, what if we did that this way? And let's give it a shot and then test it out. So that's cool, Wim. I was really impressed with you during that process and your attention to detail, which now I see comes from your parents' keen listening ears to music, probably translated to your attention to detail to your music. And it was so fine-tuned, and you were doing all the different instruments. I knew that you had it in you to do this on your own. So I wanted to encourage you to get Logic and to start diving in and just exploring, which I'm so happy to hear that you are, and that you're starting that progression, which is really awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And no, I think that the same thing that Ryan talked about earlier with the fail forward kind of model. totally applies. And I see you working with that in the studio, and I think that's like the most fun way to make music.
Yeah, very cool.
For sure.
So who else? The question is,
Yeah, what was the question again, Jay? My ADHD.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, describe your experience recording and collaborating with another artist, if you've done it.
Sure.
And if it.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Me? Okay. So the only other time I've like been in a studio is I was recording the album for A Will to Survive with The Place to Be, which was the original rock opera for suicide prevention. So it wasn't my music, and I was very blessed to be there and have that experience. But I was so grateful when I met Jason and I was able to take my songs and, you know, make them real and put them out there. Working with Jason's the first time I was able to really do that and do kind of recorded music and not musical theater. And we have such a great time. I mean, I have a great time. We have little like inside jokes, like the something in her eye or whatever it was. One time we were recording or me trying to get a harmony down that I could never get down. But it's so cool to just like be in a room with someone else who has such a strong passion for music and trying to create something as much as you do. So I really enjoy being in the studio and creating. It's fun.
Well, that's awesome. I feel the same, and looking forward to things freeing up so we can, you know, get back into studios and safely do that sort of stuff. And in the meantime, I'm also having fun doing stuff remotely and virtually. So, Ryan, so the question is, can you describe an experience recording and collaborating with another artist?
Thank you for repeating that for me. It's true, though. I think the, you know, as an artist, you kind of get stuck in the mode of, okay, here's what I've crafted. Here's what I have. I like this. And the collaboration brings these outside ideas into the picture that you thought you already had it painted really well. And then suddenly there's more colors and more ideas that bring this picture even fuller HD, if you will, or 4K or whatever you want to call it. And I've been finding that just with the stuff that I've been doing, and then collaborating with Jason, with JP here. You take it, you hear it, and then you know, bring some ideas to it that, of course, I never thought of, and then I can say yay or nay to it, and usually it's a yay. So I think it's been cool to be able to do that. And for anybody who's thinking, I don't know if I want to do that or haven't done it before, it really does pay off. I think there's no question my songs are only better when there's collaboration involved. And the same thing with a band, you know, you play off one another and you have that collaboration within the band setting. But to kind of do what we're doing, create a song and then send it off and have someone like Jay work on it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And building on that, you know, as a live musician, having that other presence in the studio kind of increases the performative aspect of it. So it makes you feel like you have something to prove, or there's someone you're trying to impress in the studio. And that I think also builds the quality of your music. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. So let's go around the Brady Bunch square. I'd like to hear what you guys are working on now and what you're excited about moving forward. Who would like to start?
Who's going to go? Who's going to do it?
I say Emma starts again.
I got to go like this.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Sure. So like I mentioned before, Jason and I are working on a new song. And it's really cool. It's, you know, it has a really cool recorded story, you know, being in my closet. It's upbeat. I'm really excited to share it. We're just trying to wait on this one little part and then, you know, going to put it out there. And then other than that, I don't know yet. We'll see when lyrics or, you know, melody comes into my head.
Well, that's awesome.
That's how I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. Like I've got one song, Jay's working on it. You're finishing that up, right, Jay?
Yeah, yeah. I got a little distracted by this live stream, but
holding you accountable.
Yeah, you
the
should.
Fly On song, you know, got a little trap bass in there. I hope I want to hear one of those kind of rattle.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's exciting. And I've always got one in the back burner that I'm just now starting to piece together a little bit. Maybe I'll get a little more time this upcoming week, but certainly there's always one on the back burner that I've always got kind of working on. So
Love it.
That's great. What about you, Wim?
Yeah, so right now I'm working on my debut record. So it's a 10-track LP, and it's kind of all the songs that I have just back to back. And then after that, I have the freedom to start over almost and just it's the first time as a writer where I have like a completely blank slate and I can just do whatever I want. And working on this album has been awesome. I have some horns on it, so I was arranging horns, and I have like a cello player, just all sorts of stuff that we're doing, pulling some new tricks off, hopefully. So it's been a learning process, and it's been super cool. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing
We should
all
all
this new
collaborate.
music, and yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely. And one of the great,
now, let's go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, let's do it. One of the great
Okay.
things about music is that it just never ends, right? So like if you like us, we're musicians, we just like within tonight there might be some inspiration, some idea that comes, and what's awesome is that we have the ability to take that idea into a full song that we can enjoy and that hopefully other people can enjoy too, and that story or that melody or that sound resonates with other people beyond just us. I think that is what is so cool about music, and something I've been blessed to be able to connect with you guys on. So I'm really happy that we had a chance to chat tonight. Where can people go to check out your music? You guys are pretty much on all the mainstays, right? The Spotify's and online. So if people Google you, look you up on there, we'll be able to dig down. Does anybody want to give some shout outs to some of your social handles?
I want to
ahead.
give a shout out to
The younger people.
Squadcar37 audioproductions.com. Is that your website?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, check Jason out for all your audio needs. He's great.
Thank you.
If you want to hear my stuff though, I think you can just Google me. I'm on there.
Okay.
But stay tuned because again, new music coming out. So Spotify, Apple Music, whatever your thing is, I'll be there.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Emma.
For me, it's just my name, emmacarmela.com. I have links to all my social media, my YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, all that good stuff.
And I got to listen to both Wim and Emma on Spotify, and I was like, man, you guys are the real deal.
Oh, thank you, sir. I listen to your stuff as well. It's great, both of you guys.
Yeah.
So that's the only place I've got my fun tricks over there on Spotify.
Spotify. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining tonight. This was a lot of fun, and hopefully I can have you back on again if you agree at some point in the future.
Absolutely.
All right.
For sure.
Let's make it
Oh,
happen.
for sure.
All right. Excellent. So thanks for joining us, and we'll talk later on. Oh, I got one quick note here. I got a comment from Ray who said, "Hey, Ryan, nice tellies."
Oh, love it.
Oh gosh.
You got
That's
a point.
That's
That is so cool. Yeah, they are nice tellies.
my dad.
Hey, it's all about the they're like wall decor, right? They look good on the wall.
Oh yeah, they look
That
fantastic.
doesn't
you
mean
need
I
a
can play 'em, but they
guitar
look
for
good. They look
Yeah.
good.
And they play and they sound great too. Ray also plays
Ray.
a telly, so
Well, and I would like to hear Ray play the telly. Where
oh,
can I
you
hear
should
it?
you should definitely check him out. Where do people go to hear
Yeah.
Ray's music?
Google.
Well, first of
Yeah,
all, Emma,
so
can you give
he
a
has a
quick
YouTube-
plug for you mentioned him before, but he's like recently been on the news and he's super he's doing some great stuff here.
Yeah, he's incredible. Honestly, one of my music idols. He's a music therapist. He heads the medical music therapy. So he normally goes into the hospitals and sees patients in the ICU and sings to them, takes their requests, whatever, genre, whatever style it is, he's able to do that. But obviously right now he can't. So he goes into the lobby and he sings for the nurses. He has a YouTube page where he takes requests from nurses and doctors and all of that weekly, and he'll do a song for them, and they play it overhead at the hospital for everyone to hear. And he was on the news for it recently. He's amazing. But he has a YouTube page. I think it's Ray Leone Music, or you could just do Ray Leone Music Therapy, and you should be able to find him.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Check them out.
Yeah, very cool. And he's
Yeah.
a great guy, and he's a great musician, and just super cool. So check him out online. Thanks again for joining. Have a wonderful Sunday evening, and we'll talk
guys.
soon.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.